A ringing phone in the dead of night is rarely a good sign. But what happens when you don't know who or what is on the other end? Tonight, we will hear eerie accounts of mysterious callers, unsettling voices, and phone calls that should have been left unanswered. Listen in to these terrifying encounters and decide for yourself. This happened last week, and I still feel like I'm losing my mind. It was just past 1 a.m. when my phone rang. I was half asleep, groggy, and annoyed. Who the hell calls at this hour? I reached for my phone and froze when I saw the name on the screen. Ethan. My brother. My brother has been dead for 5 years. I just stared at the screen and couldn't believe what I was seeing. It wasn't an unknown number. It was his number. The same one I could never bring myself to delete. This had to be some kind of cruel joke. A scam, even. Someone spoofing his number. I don't know. But my gut was telling me that wasn't the case. I don't know why I answered. Maybe morbid curiosity. Maybe some part of me just needed to hear his voice again. I don't know, but I put the phone to my ear and said, "Hello?" Silence. Then, in the faintest, most broken whisper I heard, "Help me." I sat up so fast I nearly dropped the phone. My stomach was in knots. I kid you not, it sounded just like him. Not just his voice, but the way he said it was like he was holding back tears, like he was terrified. I wanted to believe it was just a prank, a recording of some type maybe, but then the whisper came again. More frantic this time. "Please, it's so dark. I don't know where I am." My hands were shaking. "Ethan," my voice cracked as I called his name. No response, just shallow, shaky breathing. Then something changed. The call didn't disconnect, but the breathing stopped. I strained to listen in, and then came a new sound. A slow, wet scraping, like something being dragged across a rough surface. Then came a deep, distorted voice. It sounded like it was being played in reverse. It wasn't Ethan's anymore. It said, "He's not yours anymore." And then the line went dead. I sat there, phone still pressed to my ear, listening to nothing but my own breathing. The call log says the conversation lasted 47 seconds. I don't know who or what I spoke to that night, but I haven't slept since. And the worst part, Ethan's number called me again tonight. I didn't answer. I live alone. That detail is very important for what I'm about to tell you. A few weeks ago, I was woken up by my phone ringing at around 2 in the morning. My first thought was something had happened, because you don't get calls at that hour unless it's an emergency. I was half asleep when I grabbed my phone and looked at the screen. There was no caller ID, which should have been a red flag. I just assumed it was either a wrong number or maybe a drunk friend using a different phone, so I answered. At first, there was just silence, not even static, just dead air. I was about to say something when I heard breathing, real close to the receiver. My first thought was, ew, some pervert got my number and was messing with me. I was about to hang up when, very faintly, I heard my voice. I heard my own voice on the other end whispering, "Don't look out the window." My whole body locked up in terror. My bed is positioned near a window, and in that moment, I became hyper-aware of it. And the fact that I left my curtains open made the feeling even worse. I wanted to look. God, it took everything out of me not to. But I didn't. Instead, I hung up, threw the phone across the bed, and pulled the covers over my head like a kid hiding. I stayed like that for hours, forcing myself not to move. Hell, I tried not to breathe too loud. I must have fallen asleep at some point because I woke up to the sun shining through. I saw my phone on the floor and figured it must have fallen while I slept. I got up and grabbed it. The call log showed no record of the call. It was like it never happened. But something did happen, because when I finally got the courage to check the window, there was a single smeared handprint on the glass from the outside. I work late shifts, so getting home around midnight isn't weird for me. What is weird is getting a phone call as I'm unlocking my front door. It was around 12:17 a.m. The screen just showed a bunch of zeros. At first, I thought it was a glitch or some spam call. I almost ignored it, but something about it made me uneasy. Against my better judgment, I answered. What I heard next wasn't static. It was this low hum, like someone humming a lullaby off-key. I stood frozen on my porch, key still in the lock. "Who is this?" I finally asked. The humming stopped. Then, clear as day, a voice whispered, "Behind you." I slowly turned around, not wanting to, but the street was empty. No cars, no people, nothing. Just dim streetlights and cold air. I hung up, got inside, and locked every door. But it didn't stop there. At 3:33 a.m., my phone rang again. Same number, all zeros. I didn't answer this time, but the voicemail notification popped up almost immediately. I listened to it, heart pounding. It was the humming again, slower this time, and in the background, underneath it, I could hear soft, steady footsteps getting closer. Then, right at the end, the same voice whispered, "You're still awake." I threw my phone across the room. I stayed awake the rest of the night. The next morning, I checked my phone again and saw a voicemail. I didn't hear the phone ring after I threw it. I dropped the phone when I checked it. All I heard was laughter. The most evil sound I'd ever heard. Hey guys, a late night call should be nothing more than a wrong number. But as we heard tonight, some calls are far more disturbing. Have you ever received a call that sent chills down your spine? Share your story in the comments. Let's get the conversation started. And if you enjoyed these encounters, subscribe to the channel so you never miss what's lurking in the next video. Until next time, and if your phone rings in the middle of the night, think twice before answering.